Hey guys, let's get more news about Dallas, but first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. First call, Cowboys showed interest in George Pickens, Cleveland confusion about Kenny Pickett's fifth-year option. Tuesday's first call features more smoke about how close the Pittsburgh Steelers and Dallas Cowboys may have come to a George Pickens trade. A pair of former WPIAL standouts are getting rookie minicamp invites from the Steelers. There was some confusion over Kenny Pickett's fifth-year option. Duquesne basketball is losing an assistant coach and a former Pirates pitcher is going on the injured list, again. During her latest Scoop City podcast, Diana Russini said the Steelers were making and fielding trade calls about wide receiver George Pickens. He's on the trading block. Teams are calling about him. The Steelers are calling, Russini said. Right before the draft and during the draft, the Steelers were calling around. Teams were calling them. There were conversations flying around about George Pickens. But I think it's probably at this point not going to be something we see. One of those teams apparently is Dallas. They had conversations, Russini added. Nothing came to fruition. It could still happen. It wouldn't make sense now that the draft is over. A trade would only be necessary if the Steelers can't work out an extension with the Pickens. And Russini's co-host, former NFL QB Chase Daniel, insisted that Pickens likes his time in Pittsburgh because of his head coach. Mike Tomlin and him have a very strong relationship, Daniel insisted. I don't know if George Pickens' antics could fly anywhere but the Pittsburgh Steelers. In advance of the draft, there were rumors about both the Cowboys and Green Bay Packers having an interest in Pickens. Green Bay drafted two receivers, Texas' Matthew Golden, TCU's Savion Williams. The Cowboys didn't draft any. A pair of WPIAL products are getting minicamp looks from the Steelers. One of them is Central Michigan center Dominic Serapiglia. The Thomas Jefferson High School alum spent 2 seasons with the Chippewas, starting 24 games. The 24-year-old was a 2-time All-MAC honoree. Central Michigan University made the announcement on social media. MT Lebanon native Seth Morgan is getting a minicamp invite too. Morgan's reps at the Gridiron Crew posted the news on Instagram. The New Hampshire quarterback also spent time at VMI and Division II Shepherd in West Virginia. He played in 12 games, racking up 2,382 passing yards and 22 touchdowns. He completed 244 of 384 passes, 64%. That was good for a 130.4 passer rating. Option declined after some confusion. The Cleveland Browns are not going to exercise Kenny Pickett's fifth-year option. According to Cleveland.com, the franchise will decline the club option worth $22.117 million for 2026. That's not a surprise since the Browns just acquired him via trade from the Philadelphia Eagles, the second time Pickett has been traded since the Steelers drafted him in 2022. What is a surprise, apparently, is that Andrew Berry didn't know it was his responsibility to pick up or decline Pickett's option. He seemed to think Philadelphia had already rejected it. That would have been last year with the Eagles, Andrew Berry said during his draft wrap-up press conference, at the 16:30 mark. You have to make that decision after year 3, since he's already in year 4. That's not a decision that we make. But as noted at SteelersDepot.com, that's not entirely true. The deadline to make that decision is actually Thursday, heading into the player's 4th season. Fortunately for Berry, it appears that got straightened out in time. So he either flubbed the explanation of the rule because Philly had previously informed Pickett of their plans before the trade, or he acquired Pickett without knowing the nuances of that incredibly important detail. For the sake of Browns fans, they better hope it is the first thing. What now for Glasnow? Ex-Pirate Tyler Glasnow got injured pitching against his former team Sunday. The Los Angeles Dodgers starter felt shoulder discomfort while warming up before the start of the second inning of LA's 9-2 over the Bucs last weekend. As a result, the 31-year-old right-hander has been placed on the 15-day injured list. Via the Associated Press, the oft-injured All-Star has been diagnosed with right shoulder inflammation. Glasnow only got through 5 starts and 18 innings this season before his latest injury issue, going 1-0 with a 4.50 ERA. Despite the checkered past of Glasnow's health, he got a 5-year, $136.5 million contract from LA after arriving from Tampa Bay in December 2023. He didn't pitch from August 11 onward last year after developing elbow tendinitis. It kept him out through the postseason. New Cowboys signing is already on thin ice after 2025 NFL Draft. For better or worse, the Dallas Cowboys prefer to fill their roster holes in the 2025 NFL Draft rather than free agency. That puts a lot of pressure on Will McClay and the scouting department to nail their player evaluations. While Dallas has gotten mixed reviews from recent drafts, they have seemingly knocked this year's showcase out of the park. They wasted no time finding Zach Martin's replacement in first-round pick Tyler Booker and followed that on day 2 with 2 of the best value picks in the draft in pass rusher Donovan Ezeruaku and cornerback Siobhan Revel. With the arrow already pointing up, Dallas granted fans' wishes and double-dipped at running back on day 3. It's no secret this roster wasn't in great shape going into draft weekend. Because of that, some draftees have a chance to climb up the depth chart at their respective positions. It is obviously extremely early in the offseason, but one vet might already be on the hot seat. If we had to pick an odd man out in Dallas backfield, it's definitely Miles Sanders. The Cowboys spent a 5th-round pick on Texas running back Jaden Blue, who brings a home run hitting element to a not-so-dynamic offense. He can be especially dangerous as a receiver if head coach and presumed play caller Brian Schottenheimer can scheme him into favorable matchups. Blue plays the game at a different gear. He was hidden by some excellent Texas running backs, but he exploded this past season with 730 rushing yards and 8 touchdowns on 5.4 yards per carry. He also caught 42 passes and had 6 receiving scores. Cowboys' Amari Cooper signing rumor is more desperate than dreamy. Amari Cooper's time in Dallas produced plenty of highlights, but it ended on far bumpier terms than most fans care to remember. Yes, a most visible fracture came between Cooper and former head coach Mike McCarthy. Their relationship was strained. But it wasn't just McCarthy. As CowboysCountry.com first reported 3 years ago, multiple voices inside the Cowboys building, coaches, executives, personnel evaluators, questioned Amari's durability, his practice habits, and his commitment when the ball wasn't coming his way. Fair or unfair, the perception inside the Star was clear: Cooper was brilliant, but selectively engaged. Adding fuel to the fire? Cooper's refusal to get vaccinated during the height of the pandemic, which led to public scapegoating from Jerry Jones himself. That wasn't the reason for the trade dump breakup. But it was another brick in the wall of Cowboys management viewing Amari as something less than a team-first guy. Fast forward to now, Nick Harris of the Fort Worth Star-Telegram reports there's growing interest in a Cowboys-Cooper reunion. We don't doubt Nick's angle. It's just that we have a different one. Cowboys Country's Mike Fisher has often offered a sourced perspective, one that hasn't changed much over the years. Fish then and now isn't saying the idea is completely impossible, just that it's wildly imperfect. If you took a vote of the football people in this building, there would be far more no's than yeses, Fish reports. But it only takes one yes to change everything. Shrinkage was the stance then. Has Amari changed? Nah. Has Dallas setup changed? If the previous Cowboys staff, not nearly as obsessed with physicality, toughness, and buy-in as this current Brian Schottenheimer-led crew, couldn't live with Amari's quirks, what makes anyone think this regime would embrace them? Yes, Cooper's calculated, cerebral style could appeal to Schottenheimer's love of football IQ. But age, declining production, and a stone-cold NFL market suggest there's more desperation from fans than actual movement from the team. If Cooper was truly in high demand, someone would have already made it happen. A Frisco reunion? Never say never in the NFL. But the cold truth? This feels like desperate wishful thinking on somebody's part more than wise reality. And you, fan? What do you think about Amari Cooper situation? Write to us in the comments.